Welcome to Duane's Currency Report, where markets will get analyzed from a common sense lens. Who am I? I've been involved with money markets for 20 plus years, managing the income I made in the hair industry. The first book I read on the markets was How to Make Money in Stocks by William O'Neill, who was also the founder of Investor Business Daily newspaper. This has become the foundation that I continue to build upon. Duane's Currency Report aims to open up an honest space to dialogue about the movement of money. So let's go. Topic of the day is the impact of the coronavirus crisis on currency. Yes, the depression was baked into the cake. We all knew it way before the coronavirus. As you can see, it says, forget that. You cannot have every supply chain in the world chopped into it and have a recession. A depression was baked into the cake before the corona popped out of the six pack. The U.S. government dumping a $6 trillion bailout for their buddies that has more pork in it than the butt of a 2-ton pig is the proverbial pissing up a rope. We are in a depression, the entire financial system, the education system, the medical system, the political system. Hell, the entire artifice needs to have a total reset. They've been talking about this total reset for a long time. And guess what? We have it. The coronavirus is just an opportunity to reset and to set the record straight about how the market really is. Okay, so that's pretty much what we witnessing.
Get your corn dogs.
The world economy has entered a recession, is bad or worse than the global financial crisis. That's what the IMF chief has to say. Okay, Christina Georgieva said it is clear that the global economy has entered a recession due to the evolving COVID-19 pandemic that has the organization is working on projections to assess how severe it will be.
Get your hot dogs.
A key concern about a long-lasting impact of the sudden stop of the world economy is the risk of a wave of bankruptcies and layoffs that not only can undermine a recovery but can erode the fabric of our societies. She predicted that the emerging markets will need assistance of 2.5 trillion, and the estimate is on a low end. A practical approach will be needed to prevent indebted countries from falling off the cliff. So the IMF, Christine Lagarde, Kristalina Georgieva, they've been talking about
popcorn,
the economy teetering on a collapse for a couple years now. Almost 3 years, basically 3 years after the last crash of '08. 2010, 11, we was already back to these all-time highs. It was unsustainable, and pretty much, these low interest rate environments have created, opportunity for banks to print money, spend money, and give it to their buddies on the cheap end, while raising the interest rate on us and making us pay the high end for fiat fake money. This is pretty much what inflated the stock market, and now you have a stock market crash, and you're just gonna blame it on the corona. But this is bigger than the corona. The Brady Bond Solutions, even before the COVID-19 crisis, had slashed stock prices nearly in half since it erupted in January. Financial markets were in inherently unstable condition. Years of quantitative easing had loaded so much money in the stock and bond prices that stock price earnings multiples and bond prices were far too high by any normal and reasonable historical standard. Risk premiums have disappeared, with only a few basis points separating U.S. Treasury bills and corporate bonds. So basically,
get your hot dogs.
Debt is cheap. Again, these low interest rates have created a Ponzi scheme for corporations, and these buybacks of stocks. The bond prices are up and stocks are up because you have governments and corporations basically eating their own tail. They're selling you something and then buying it back. But the value of something is when you have a pool of people who want the asset class. But if no one wants the asset class, is it really valuable? And the answer is no. Stocks are staying high because corporations, because of
Get
this
your corn dogs!
cheap money that's being printed, given to these corporations at minimum interest, they're using that money to buy back their company stock. Same thing with bonds. You have bond buybacks. All of this quantitative easing, QE to infinity. This has been happening for years upon years upon years. Ain't nothing new under the sun. They just create different names. The overnight repo markets right now basically is the same gamut. At the end of the day, whatever corporations or businesses or governments cannot pay their bills, banks will loan them the money to cover it. Again, which substantiates this false claim of being profitable. When you're not. Like I said, the Fed's policy was to perpetuate this situation for as long as possible by pumping in yet more credit, but at near zero interest rates. This was little that could be done.
Popcorn!
They've been telling us what they've been doing and
peanuts
and how they've been doing it for a very long time. So, like the international financial system was rescued by the issue of Brady bonds. This was back in the day. Good new bonds for old bad ones. The capital value of these bonds was still far below the original debt, but they had the virtue of setting realistic levels by bringing the debt balance more in line with the actual ability of the debtor countries to earn the dollars of the other hard currencies needed to service bonds denominated in foreign currencies, mainly US dollar. The current crisis requires
popcorn,
similar write-down and recognition that fictitious price levels must give way to reality at some point. In fact, we have reached the end of an illusion that the bond and stock prices could be sustained indefinitely simply by financial engineering without an economic base capable of producing enough surplus revenue to justify the existing bond and stock prices. Again, like I said, this is a Ponzi scheme. This is a pyramid scheme. But we will, laugh or persecute our fellow brother who comes with a model that uses this same principle, but try to use it for good. Because again, it's they're all tools. These are all instruments, financial instruments meant to be played and used. It just depends on the person playing or using them. Again, in this Monopoly game, we're the ones being played. The game is on our backs, and the debt is on our backs. And that's what we're witnessing. The failings of centralization have caused numerous problems long before it led to potential pandemic. The pandemic simply clarifies the issue. For example, the breakdown in the global supply chain is becoming a bigger threat by the day. The Baltic Dry Index, a measure of shipping rates as well as global demand for goods, has essentially collapsed. This should have been the first warning sign that the supply chain was in trouble. But the mainstream doesn't pay attention to the fundamentals, only stock markets. Enter Apple, one of the largest companies in the world, which has now abandoned its projections for 2020 and finally admitted that the shutdown of Chinese factories may just be a problem. It was more than a problem. Again, it's been a problem way before. The Baltic Dry Index has been dropping for years now. Again, right after the last collapse, all they did is kick the can down the road from the last collapse. Matter of fact, since the last collapse, they knew that this was going to happen. They have been positioning themselves for the big collapse. The Baltic Dry Index pretty much it's an index that measures shipping, dealing with containers that are coming to and from the U.S. and moving around the world, for that matter. And shipping is down, which means the movement of goods is
Get your
down.
corn dogs.
So again, if the movement of goods is down and has been declining, how are stock prices going up? Doesn't make sense, right? But it's all theater. It's all a play. It's all drama. They give us these narratives that they feed to us on the dumb box. Those who just watch and don't read, for the most part, because they put all of this stuff out in reports. But you just have to know what reports to go to and read. You gotta want to know. You gotta want to find this information out and try to understand it. But again, shipping is down and it's been going down. And that's another reason why oil prices have been going down. Not only have oil prices been going down because Russia and Saudis, are pretty much creating their own packs in distributing oil, as well as Venezuela, as well as us trying to work on the shale industry here. The need for oil from moving around the world has lessened, and you see this here. President United States has the power at his sole discretion without any other authority to place a fee on imported oil or products. It becomes variable when a base price, floor price is set, and the fee is paid on any imports where the price on imports is below the base price. If the base price for oil was set at $50 per barrel and the import price is $30 per barrel, then the import fee of $20 per barrel would be paid to the United States Treasury. Likewise, if the import price is $50 a barrel, then no fee is paid. Thus, the fee is a variable depending on the price paid for the imported barrel. Hence, we have to find out ways to rig the oil market just to bring the price back up or for us to become profitable. So we have to hike the interest on imported oil because there's not enough oil coming in. And there's not enough oil coming in because there's not a need for oil. Okay, and there's not really a need for oil because there's not that many products being shipped and moved around. So that is pretty much what we're witnessing with oil. Again, along with Russia and China creating packs. So you have an oil decline, you have a stock market decline, and then you mix in this COVID-19. And here comes the mega bailouts, which are going to bring what? As you see, a tsunami of inflation. The U.S. House of Representatives have approved a hotly debated $2.2 trillion stimulus bill to fight COVID-19, with the package of measures now slated to head to the president's desk for signature. The U.S. stock indexes fell sharply at the opening on Friday as investors reached the United States, becoming the country with the largest number of confirmed coronaviruses. The Dow Jones average fell 653 points, or 2.90%, to 21,898. So, I mean, stock market's falling, stock market's rising. Stock market's falling, stock market's rising. So we're pretty much back on the rise because we have all of this cheap money that has been printed again for the reason
Peanuts
of the coronavirus, COVID-19. You just need a reason. Just give me a reason to print and I'll print. Give me a reason to pull the trigger and I will pull the trigger. Who are the people going to get hit by this bullet of inflation? The poor people. And we're not realizing it yet, but that's what's going to happen. But, you tell us you're going to give us, $1,200 here, $2,000 here. You're going to tell me I don't have to pay my rent for a couple of months. here, but all of this will be due. The debt will be due one way or another. Again, the debt is always passed on, kicked down the road. You will feel it on the back end. So and how they price in this debt so that you don't feel it right away or initially is through inflation. If I start rising prices does not signify
Get your hot dogs.
a great product or demand. In this environment, rising prices really signify that there's inflation. It's just taking more of your dollars to buy the same product. And then the product that you're buying that it takes more dollars, that product is dwindling, right? It's like the bag of chips, right? The $50 the 50 cent bag of chips used to be full, now it's half filled with air. It's not 50 cents no more, it's $1. So these are the games and the illusion of rigging the financial markets and products and services that go unnoticed, you know, until
Popcorn.
until it is noticed. I'm pretty sure we all seen the picture with the supermarket cart from say 1990 and then going to say 2000. What $20 will buy you. $20 doesn't buy you anything now. I mean, $20, you might go to the supermarket and walk out with three things for $20 at this point. So imagine after, this stimulus and all of this free money comes rolling out, right? Free. That's what we think it is. It's free. But when our national debt is 23 trillion and you talk about injecting another 3 to 6 trillion into the economy, that's basically we're about to add a third to our national debt. A third to our national debt. Oh, we're going to feel that. We're going to feel that. Trust and believe. But hey, small businesses, you guys are going to get a loan. You're going to get loan forgiveness. Okay. You're going to get a paycheck and I'm going to give you, you got your business is doing bad. I'm going to keep you alive for a couple more months.
Peanuts.
Right. Again, and just like with all of these relief packages, I mean, you could go back to Katrina, you could go to Haiti, any of these programs, the money that's being issued and the money that actually hits the people is a very, very small percent. They're already talking about the scams and stuff this happening off of this, Then you got a bill talking about we might propose a student loan forgiveness, which I believe they were headed towards student loan forgiveness anyway. I believe we're headed towards a time where, school will become free. Healthcare will become free. Again, it's nothing free about free. But you will pay for it on the back end. It reminds me of when they started cutting out, welfare and putting stipulations on it. Well, you're going to have to go back to school or you're going to have to go work, right? So just know that whatever is being offered,
Peanuts.
there's a caveat to it. There's a hidden hand to it. I just think the education industry has to be revamped anyway. The financial system has to be revamped anyway. The whole system is old. It's like it's old pipes in the city. What I mean? It's lead in the water. They've known that it's been lead in the water. They just waited to the opportune time to tell you that it's lead in the water, and created a reason to fix the pipes. So that you don't blame them for putting the lead in the water in the first place. And that's pretty much what we're witnessing. But Student Debt Emergency Relief Act, if the bill passes, it would cancel 30,000 in federal student loans for borrowers. The student loan forgiveness would be tax free. In other words, the debt cancellation will not be taxed as income for student loan borrowers who continue to have a student loan payments due even after the 30,000 in cancellation. Again, is a hidden hand to all of this. Trump bails himself out, overlooked provision in stimulus bill, forged 170 billion in real estate tax breaks. I mean, those who
Get your corn dogs.
play the monopoly game of real estate already understand the hidden tax breaks of real estate, and most of the people who are in real estate are not minorities or the poor or the low income. So these tax breaks and benefits will again go to the rich, even those who are flipping homes and the such, wholesaling. A lot of people are selling the homes to companies like BlackRock, who are gonna, these are the companies that's gonna benefit. A lot of the people who's out here hustling and flipping homes, but they're just basically finding the homes and giving it to the people who created this situation in the first place. We're just doing their dirty work for them. They're using us to go into our communities and sell our houses, right? Using our faces, and then we sell it to the highest bidder, and who has the money to be the highest bidder. Again, so this tax break, really, what is this? The recently signed 2 trillion in fiscal stimulus includes a little known provision for the country's largest real estate investors.
Get your corn dogs.
Under the current tax code, when real estate investors generate losses from writing down the value of their properties, they can use some of those losses to offset other taxes. But the 2017 tax cut package limited some of those losses to shelter 500,000 of a married couple's non-business income. Leftover losses got rolled to subsequent years. The new bill lists the cap to 500. Lifts the 500,000 cap. So the new bill lists the 500,000 cap. Wow. So so that's a saving of, basically, you're rounding more up to $1 million now. Again, who's that for? It's for the people like Branson here. He he said he's roasted as Virgin Atlantic seeks massive state-sponsored bailout despite not paying his staff. So these corporations are gonna get this money, okay, and they're gonna benefit from it. U.S. faces a deficit of gold amid the coronavirus market rout. So they're taking that money and they're buying hard assets. They're buying real estate. They're buying land. They're buying water. They're buying air. They're buying minerals. They're buying gold. Okay. We're not going to use our check to buy that. And that's even if you could find and get the minerals, the water, the air, right? Because they have a monopoly on it. As they say, the shortages have forced gold-hungry bankers and brokers in the U.S. to look at neighboring Canada as a possible source, bombarding the Royal Mint with the request to boost production. According to the Wall Street Journal, the Canadian company said that the demand had reached unprecedented levels, but it seems that it is unlikely to meet it, as the mint is currently understaffed due to the COVID-19 prevention measures. I even just wanted to call a gold dealer just to see if some of this is true. And just because of the quarantine, your average gold dealer isn't even open to answer questions about it anyway. So, I mean, with this forced quarantine, whether there are supply issues or not, you really don't know, because no one is allowed to even go into their business and do their own accounting, right? I mean, the same thing even with the numbers. I don't want to get too much into that, but it's like even with the numbers. I mean, if everyone is scared in the house, even all numbers are inflated. So that's what I have to say. You know what I'm saying? I know the people are sick. I know the people are dying, But if it's anything with government and numbers, inflating numbers is one of their cash cows, right? Because there is business in the coronavirus. Believe that. All right. So you see corporations are getting bailouts. Hey, individuals, mom and pop businesses are getting bailed out. Students are getting bailed out. But with this bailout money, again, what is the use of having money if there is no goods to purchase with the money? And once there are goods to purchase with the money, what if the money isn't worth as much as it was, which it continues not to be? There is no gold, Commerce Report exposes conditions behind the physical crunch. There's no gold, says Josh Strauss, partner at money manager Pekin Hardy Strauss in Chicago, a bullion fan. There's no gold. There's roughly a 10% premium to purchase physical gold for delivery. Usually it's like 2%. I can buy a 1 ounce American Eagle for $1,800, said Josh Strauss. 1,800, you know. And in case you doubted this, the cost of American Eagle 1 ounce coin at the U.S. Mint is now $2,175. So again, those who do have will not sell for these ridiculously low prices. So there's a lot to be said about the coronavirus. It is a crisis. It is a problem. But the problem in the crisis is man-made, figuratively, literally, right? And it's something that can be fixed, needs to be fixed, should be fixed. So I just advise people who are coming out of this crisis to use the money that you do have wisely. We are leaving an aristocratic world, with pomper and fashion, and we're going into a technocratic world. And even if you just look at films, I don't know if people look at films and you just deal with movies. If you look into the future, these movies that art imitates life and life imitates art, it's not so much about fashion, glamour, and lifestyle. It's all about technology. And I think that we are leaving from this point on this pompous fashion, materialistic lifestyle, and we are merging with technology and science, and it's a reset on how we're living. And this global reset that is happening financially has been baked in the cake. They've been planning this. Anyone who follows markets and charts, there's no way that any of this was sustainable.
Popcorn!
And we're going to feel this for a long, long time.
Get your hot dogs!
But there's one hella opportunity out here. So again, use your fiat fake paper money to go after hard assets. Thank you for listening. Any topics, suggestions, or questions, feel free to contact me. Let's continue to build this arc, y'all. For more enlightening and inspiring stories, please visit arcrepublic.com.